Okay, so we're going to go through what was the first sketchbook I bought when I got back into drawing and trying to do some art. This was, I got this in Bendigo, Victoria, which is a small city near Melbourne. Me and my partner were travelling over there at the time, last year. And these are literally the first scribbles. So these would be from about a year ago, I think. So, what's that? Yeah, sort of May, June time, 2023. Literally just getting used to using a pencil again. Let's see if I can fold that back that way. Yeah, this was completely first go at everything. Look how scratchy everything is. Yeah, I think that's tracing around hand and foot. Then more scribbles. You're gonna see a lot of that. Lots of folding here. Looks like this was me trying to draw some people in some poses. I think that's Babe Ruth. Okay, something resembling something a bit more, pleasing to look at. I think this was a copy of a Turner sketch, because I read somewhere that copying someone's sketching style that you admire is a good way to absorb those techniques. And clearly I didn't finish it, but paying close attention to how he did the leaves and the branches here, I think that is something I have kept with me. I need to go back to trying to do a bit more of that. Let's see if I can adjust this. Okay, that's a bit better. So yeah, more practicing with lines there. And then this was the first go at gesture drawing, I believe. So this is where I found a sort of loose self-taught curriculum on Reddit. And one of the first things recommended in it was to look at gesture drawing. So this was me completely doing this off my own back at that point. So yeah, these are the first ones. You can see how sort of scratchy they are. I didn't really understand what I was doing. Sort of very much drawing what I thought was there as opposed to what was actually there. But here's some more. I think the idea was that, gesture drawing is a good first thing to do because you're sort of letting go of inhibitions, so you can do bold lines and you're looking at form, all that sort of stuff. I was happy with this one. This is kind of wrong there. This was someone sort of bent backwards on a medicine ball or something. Yeah, here's some more. This is where I got more gestural, so like picking out. Let's see, I did loads of these. See, they look like a mess, but they're all in there somewhere. These ones I developed them a bit more. Again, this is all over a year ago. Doing some stuff with the pen, practicing some straight lines, because the next thing was line work. That was my partner. She, not literally the sea lion, but she drew this whilst we were over there. Probably the best thing you'll see in here. There's another one, there's a turtle. And this is more recent. This was from a couple of weeks ago. This is me practicing different line work. This is where you do a continuous line around the page and to see how many different kinds of line you can get and then take what they are. There we go, that's quite cool. Some more there. Okay, so we skipped ahead quite a bit there. I only really kept it up for a couple of months in Australia, and then started again when I got back to the UK in December, and I had a real big sort of flurry of activity. And what I was doing then was drawing boxes and lines and geometric things, and a lot of that was in marker. And the idea is that sort of gets you over the hesitancy of drawing with a pencil, so you don't do that back and forth thing. So I think I pulled lots of them out of this notebook. I did hundreds of circles and squares and ovals and things. I think they just fell out because I've turned the page so many times, but it's this sort of thing here. Then there's some more Turner copies. That's a copy of a sketch. It's a copy of an etching, that one. There you go, more of these. See, these are all drawn freehand, if you can't tell. I was looking at some basic 2-point perspective stuff. This is still all December last year. More boxes, perspective. More perspective. These are sort of freehand boxes. That's a, yeah. Look at a vanishing point. What else have we got? I think that was me doing the same thing, but freehand. There's also a table. Just to get an idea of it. Something I definitely need to revisit, but let's go the right way. Here's the notebook. Yeah, the same thing again. More boxes, more boxes, more boxes, more boxes. I mean, the idea is that I'm not necessarily going to compose images using these techniques, but you develop a more innate sense of perspective and composition, and it comes out more naturally. It's sort of an exercise how to build a cityscape with individual bricks. So yeah, how you can basically construct anything in 3D space using different shapes. And then here it looks like, I don't know if this is the next thing I did, but here's some circles. This was drawing books on a table from different perspectives. So one is looking directly at it, I think, here. Yep, directly at a stack of books on a table. And then here, can't see it so well, is right here, is looking at from underneath the stack of books. So say they're on the edge of a table and you're sat on the floor. You can see I reused lots of this paper because I have a big white space, you know, just to practice circles and stuff. Boxes, just drawing a sort of street view. Okay, and then this was me, I was copying a photograph of New York from like the 30s or something, and using 2-point perspective to try and make it look accurate. Okay, and then I started having a look at the Andrew Loomis Fun with a Pencil book. It gets you doing these like weird caricatures, just sort of basic head construction. And then drawing a spear, rotating the spear. I did some more box stuff to warm up there. And then sort of anthropomorphizing them slightly more, these people. And then this was me sort of getting into Loomis stuff. I did very little of this. This lasted about 2 days because I realised it was kind of beyond where I was at the time. You know, trying to draw realistic faces. I'm going to go back to some more basic stuff. This is still all in December. You know, they just too unnatural, too much detail, too blocky. Something I'm going to revisit later, but a good experiment. This was just a complete freeform scribble. Again, here are some more faces. This was the only one I did which I felt had a sort of humanness to it. I guess copying more. See, these were drawn from photos of people. Copying pre-drawn images, I think, would be the way to go. So you're just purely imitating the muscle memory of that. This was another thing my partner did. Again, very nice. This was drawing circles, freehand, and then I just used the page, you know, to mess around with shading. More circles. More circles. Okay, here's a blue tip. Another blue tip. Here's a swallow. Andrew. Okay, some light line work. Very light line work. Very light line work. Circles. This is where I started to feel something of a knack for doing the circles. from what I've heard, you should be practicing them every day. I'm definitely not doing that. I could see how if I was doing that, these would start to, you know, become more of an automatic thing. But I was getting a feel for it. Drawing at arm's length seemed to help with that sort of swinging fulcrum. Again, these are freehand. So the idea is you do these really light and you can construct more complex forms out of circles. So circles, circles, more bold, ovals, ovals, ovals. What's we got? More ovals. So hundreds of them. So this was all done in, you know, there's nothing I had a podcast on. I was just doing this. It just took like 20 minutes. Like doing exercises on the guitar. And then these are freehand boxes. I was pretty pleased with these. See, this is where some of the pen work actually came back to help me. You know, I was used to making those bold lines. Again, these were drawn freehand. The idea is you're sort of trying to use your mind's eye to pick out these, what's that, a 15 degree angle? Yes, 15. So funny enough, the first one I did was probably the best. So that's another one. Let's get that there. More angles, triangles. Again, this is all freehand. Triangles, circles, quadrilaterals, more shapes, and then these kind of not really egg shapes, but sort of limpet shapes. Eggs. Eggs. Strange triangles. More. This is rising up, trying to draw lighter. Okay, and then that's a atmospheric perspective thing that I tried. Here were a couple of bird drawings. This one was copied from a Skillshare course. Art and Science of Drawing by Ben something. I'll put that over the screen. And then this is one I did using the same technique. So this is a scrub jay. This is a kingfisher. I copied this from a photo. And you know, the main thing is you're looking at constructing shapes. So it starts with an oval, another oval, and a triangle, then you know, the bulrush. And this is just sort of my naive shading. You know, I know this isn't perfect, or how you bring out value or color hue and all that sort of stuff. It's just sort of me messing around to make it feel a bit more vibrant. But yeah, this has given you a look at the sort of things I've been doing. So it's all practice stuff really, as opposed to you know, any creative output. Because what I really want to do is I want to develop a sort of workable landscape painting technique, because what excites me is the landscape around where I live, or places where I drive in Essex, which is where I'm from. And I want to sort of work my skill up to a point where I can depict how I feel when I look at those things, not necessarily going for accuracy or, you know, any crazy abstract expressionism, but just really capturing that feeling, the sort of beauty tinged with melancholy and this sort of hints of ancient past and medieval past and Victorian and Edwardian past, where there's visible evidence in the buildings and the way the farms are laid out, but the thought of that way of life feels so foreign from where we are today, especially in Essex. It's something I feel very keenly. So what I'm doing at the moment, I'll look at this in another video, is I've got a small sketchbook that I'm taking out now. You know, so all this was getting me up to a level. Let's say this is like level 1 of 100 in a video game. Actually, no, let's be more fair. Let's say level 80. You know, I have some understanding of line work and shape and perspective. Very basic, very basic. But so I've got this small notebook now. Now's the creative part. I'm going out and I'm drawing scenes which elicit some emotional feeling in me. And I've got, I've done a couple at the local park, which aren't necessarily super photogenic, but they're good practice. But then I've got a couple of scenes in mind from around the town where my parents live, so where I grew up and where I lived till pretty recently. And there's a few scenes. There's one of a vineyard by a hill over the back, and then there's going to be one of down by the river there, and another one of an orchard. Again, if you you hear me just say those three things, you think, oh, that sounds idyllic. And those places are, but it's surrounding a sort of very plastic, prefab, 70s new build town. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Somewhere that was just plonked on the map and has very little spirit of itself. But I had very intense, emotional connection to the natural spaces around that town, and I feel like if I can capture that in painting, then that will resonate with people in some way, and that might be my unique contribution to the world of art. So yeah, that's what we've got to look forward to. We'll see if we ever get there. But for now, yeah, this was my sort of me dipping my toes back into the world of art after a 17-year hiatus. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like and a subscribe, and comment any thoughts or feelings you've got, or perhaps you've recently sort of come back to art after a big hiatus. I'll be very interested to hear what people have got to say about that. All the best.